dog hair in my mouth. It's just what our audience wants, is the sound of me smacking my lips because there is dog hair in my mouth. Just, oh yeah, the sweet taste of Theo.
Oh gosh, there's always dog hair in my mouth. Tumnus sheds so much.
Dude, so super excited for your, do we call this a video essay, a TED Talk, a sit down, a come to Jesus / Luke Skywalker? What are we calling this?
A rant, probably.
A rant, probably. Gotcha. This is gonna be a good one. You know, I went through this last night, and I tried to pose as many interjections, questions, comments, concerns, things like that I could. But I had just gotten back from literally being gone all day, did a bunch of barn work, and was like helping my wife take care of her horse's hoof. Which is slightly terrifying because you're underneath the horse while you do this.
Is that where you like grab their hoof and like kind of lift it up? And
yeah, so we were in that process. Instead of doing the in between the legs technique, I had it resting on my knee because I'm tall enough for that to actually work. And we had to wrap its foot just because it has a potential abscess. So we had to cut it off, remove this salve that smelled like straight dead, dying matter. Like when we took it off, my wife like turns away, starts gagging, but I still had to finish taking it off. So I'm sitting there like, don't throw up, don't throw up, don't throw up. Just trying to get this like wrap off. Finally got it all the way off, turned around and just like, like almost lost it.
Hey, but you didn't.
I didn't. I told my wife, I was like, I'm a professional. I will gag after the wrap is off and then we'll put the new one on. So I got to wrap a horse's hoof with duct tape and vet wrap. So that was fun last night. So I didn't get as many notes down as I want, but I'm sure my imagination will come up with something. I'll probably come up with some one-liners, things like that. But I did come up with a few questions. I have a few notes in here. Everyone, thanks for coming into my part of the episode. You'll be hearing very little from me throughout. Welcome to the show that arose from the love of a Star Wars universe. Here at Talk About Tatooine, we discuss many of the titles that makes our franchise great. Clone Wars, Rebels, Bad Batch. We're talking about Luke Skywalker today, soon to be Tales of the Empire, but not Resistance. We ignore the Resistance.
I'm Andrew.
I'm Nathan.
And we are twin brothers here to bring you what's new in nerddom and give colorful commentary on our favorite subject. Welcome to our cantina. Grab a drink, or in this case, coffee, and settle in. So much coffee. And settle in as we set course for realities beyond our own.
Happy May the 4th!
May the 4th be with you, brother!
May the 4th be with you, brother! Absolutely. So, guys, today's episode 70.
Special Teams, Special Jedi!
Not after this episode.
Check Tuesday.
There's going to be so many people that are like, really? The twins are doing this? And it's like, yeah, of course we're doing it. I see it all over my feed, and I even see soldiers doing it at work. And I'm like, guys, stop.
But the thing is like, I'm so lame, I'm going to be doing Special Teams Tuesday for another 6 years.
Just like we still use the word yeet.
Yeet.
Today is obviously May 4th. Happy Star Wars Day, everybody. Today is also our 70th episode. Today's episode will be released on May 6th, so Return of the 6th. You guys can be looking out for this. And a Star Wars movie that mostly focuses around Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi. So will this episode. Today we're discussing Luke Skywalker and his merits as a teacher. So we're going to have a good time with that. Also, we have a decent amount of nerddom news at the end of the episode as well. So please make sure you guys stay tuned. Andrew, just for your situational awareness for that, I'm basically going to pull up our Discord feed and rant for the news part. So
perfect. That is exactly what I like to hear.
Before we get into the episode here, guys, a huge shout out to our patrons, Mike, Isaac, and David,
Boom.
And to our highest supporter over on Twitch, the Calm Brew. You guys are the reason we do this, and honestly, you guys have been a fabulous delight to have in the Discord server. We had some interesting news pop over on the Discord server this week, and so that was very interesting and honestly lovely to see everyone's reactions to some of the bits of Helldiver news that we got. And honestly, that's like what we're here to do, is build community. So thank you guys for helping support us and doing all the things that we do. You guys are making all of this possible, and we've got some really cool stuff coming up. I mean, we're going to be releasing some really good news over on the giveaway front today as well. We're probably going to do that over here. You'll see it on the podcast because this is going to be released in the future. You guys aren't going to see this live, but we're also going to be doing some live stuff today over on Twitch. So hopefully you guys saw us on Twitch when you're actually reading or hearing this. I know that's going to be in the past, but now it's in the present. So stay with us. It's not confusing at all.
Time travel. Your favorite trope.
Exactly. Make sure you guys support us over on Patreon, though. It's literally just $5 a month. And that's actually going to get you additional bonuses outside of the access to Discord server. Lifetime access, by the way. It is not just like you have to pay for the Discord access as you go. It's like you could be a patron once. That gets you Discord access. However, as long as you are a patron, you also get access to Minecraft servers, high quality content, and basically you guys get to run the show. I think that's one benefit of our Discord or our Patreon and supporters that we don't really emphasize very much, is we prioritize the requests and the interests of our patrons first, because they're the ones that support the show financially. And they've given us some great ideas and some not so great ideas. We did some...
i.e. the Baja Blasky.
The Baja Blasky. So guys, we did a short over on like all of our socials. Make sure you guys take a look at that. I'll try to remember to tag a card in this in YouTube so you guys will be able to see it. But I made a Baja Blast and whiskey, and it was awful because it was a patron request, and he did it as a joke, and he was like, I didn't even tell you how gross it was. And I just like went ahead and made it. Literally spent like 5 hours, not even making the drink. Making the drink took 2 minutes, but like re-recording, dubbing over, editing, all this stuff, condensing like 5 hours of work down into 1 minute so you guys could see me struggle with a sickeningly sweet piece of liquid garbage. So, but it's over there on like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. So make sure you guys like check out those. It would actually be super helpful if you guys watch those and then engage in the comments. If you guys want to see more like cocktails and things like that you guys want us to make, we're kind of opening up the cantina portion of the Talk About Tatooine universe. So very, very excited about that.
It's in kind of the test phase. It's in a test phase. We're trying to see how it goes. An additional kind of aside, over on the Discord server, we actually had a pretty lengthy discussion about the Baja Blasky, about like how to make it work. That's not content that you guys saw, but Nathan actually did provide his recommendations of, hey, this is what I think needs to happen to make this drink passable. I'm a huge Baja Blast fan. Gosh, that stuff is good.
I literally have more of it in my fridge because I was like, so Baja Blast is sickeningly sweet. It's so good. And I asked the people at Fred Meyer for my pickup to give me a 0 sugar one, and they didn't. And so I have 2 full sugar Baja Blast, which 2 bottles, like the normal size bottle. Do you know how much sugar is in both of those?
Let's see. It's 78 grams a serving. How many servings is it?
Well, so a serving is a bottle.
What?
And so I have 2. And so between 2 bottles, less than a liter of soda, actually, I think exactly a liter of soda, is 150 grams. And I think it's either...
Oh, it's not a 2 liter.
No.
It's just a regular...
These are like something you'd get out of a vending machine. I almost, the other day, I almost wanted to actually like show everyone what 78 grams of sugar look like and like measure it out on my scale and be like, guys, this is how much sugar is in this.
You should have. You should do a part 2 and just be like, hey, this is a behind the scenes of how gross this video is.
I actually want to do a part 2 because I want to show my recommendations for how I think I could make this passable, which is why I have extras. So be on the lookout for that. It is a series that has not gotten any traction yet. So watch it, do it, comment, make me a happy boy, validate my work, please.
You worked really hard on that.
Yeah, so that's been consuming a lot of my time. We've been trying to open up a lot of different projects, and we have a lot of like really big ambitions for this show. So again, if you guys are still watching and you guys are hearing me talk, Andrew probably is realizing this by now, but I'm trying to front load all of my words because when I go back and edit this, I'm going to edit literally your voice for like probably 45 minutes.
You're going to love it.
I'm going to love it so much.
I did you a favor, and I wrote this as a script as best as I possibly could, so there'd be as few ums. Hopefully there won't be a lot of pauses. If you guys hear me umming and ahhing, it's because I've gone off script, and if we were in the same room, Nathan would be shooting a little water bottle at me and be like, get on script. Bad.
For
bad.
An additional kind of look into the back rooms and behind the scenes, guys, I'm usually drinking while I edit because I can't do it without a drink. even when I look at my own voice, I'm like, damn it, Nathan, why did you say it like that? You could have said that better. You could have rizzed him so much better. Razzed him? Rizzed him. I'm not trying to rizz you. Sorry, my bad. Wrong slang. I'm so old.
Razz me. Don't rizz me, you weirdo. Sweet home Alabama. Boom, boom,
no,
boom,
Raz.
boom, boom.
Sorry. Oh, gosh. I'm turning 30 this year. Leave me alone.
I'm also turning 30. I
was saying that for the audience.
I'm turning 30
not for you.
Before you.
On a technicality.
1 minute. Suck it.
Fine. But yeah, I don't have much else to say other than I'm going to be editing this probably with a, hopefully not Baja Blasky in my hand, hopefully something that is a little bit better, little bit more smooth and complex, but we will see. So
something actually palatable.
Yes, indeed.
Is it my turn to talk a whole bunch?
I am relinquishing the microphone to you.
Yeah, just a heads up, guys. This is going to be the Andrew episode. You probably read in the thumbnail and saw that it's very clickbaity tagline, and I assure you, this is what I plan on doing. I plan on arguing here that Luke Skywalker is not, and never was, a decent Jedi Master, specifically as a teacher of other Jedi. I think he does a terrible job. This week's episode was actually conceptualized in my head. I'm Andrew, by the way, for those of you who can't tell us apart. After I finished reading the book I, Jedi, I believe it's by Michael Stackpole. I already hear some of you getting worked up that I, Jedi is Legends. It is. For those of you who don't know, Star Wars Legends are the stories that Disney no longer recognizes as officially sanctioned Star Wars events, otherwise known as canon. So we'll be talking canon and Legends. I would argue that in both of those realms, Legends Luke and canon Luke were both dumpster fires when it came to rebuilding the ranks of the Jedi and raising up a new generation of galactic guardians. Internet trolls, put on your wrist braces and adjust your posture, because it's time to get into it. Exhibit A. Stop laughing. Exhibit A.
This is so good. This is theater, everybody.
Let's take a look at canon Luke. That's canon with one N in the middle, by the way. If I'm being honest, this feels like low-hanging fruit on how Master Skywalker appears in episode 7 and 8. So that's The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. Disney wrote him in to be a failure, and I think that's a fact. Most of this entire piece is my opinion and is therefore subjective. Okay? But I think the objective truth of the matter is that after the fall of the Empire, in a time of peace, Luke Skywalker succeeds in gathering a new class of Force-sensitive pupils, only to have his fledgling academy plummet into the ground. Each one of his apprentices is either persuaded to the dark side or outright killed. Oh, and this is after Luke tried to kill his nephew in cold blood. So that happened. The fact that we don't get to see all of this unfold on the big screen, I think is a travesty in and of itself, but that's also not why we're here. I would have loved to see.
Quick note, this is for everyone behind the scenes. You spelled travesty, travestity.
Oh, I thought I fixed that. No! It's been a travesty.
Continue. That's all I wanted to say.
Travestities are what I refer to.
I got him off track, folks. Andrew, focus.
A travesty is what I call myself when I take a shirtless pic. The fact that we don't get to see all of this unfold on the big screen is a travesty in and of itself, but that's not why we're here. I think it's a slam dunk case that canon Luke is not a great teacher, and I think that's actually on purpose. His legacy is meant to be picked up by another, which is actually where Rey is going to come in. This is not an episode on my thoughts on Rey. I will say I am choosing to be hopeful and optimistic about the future of Star Wars films. I really want Disney to continue making Star Wars content because it's a universe I really, really love. Therefore, if you heard the name Rey and immediately fled to the content section, take a breath, relax, and just stop typing. Based on the demographics that this podcast appeals to, I generally know your opinions on Rey. Okay? We get it. We don't need to go down that road, if that's all right. Thank you.
So, quick counterpoint for you. Do you think, like, as Disney continues to develop more content, do you think the adventures of Ahsoka and Grogu are going to make Luke look better, look worse? How do you think those are going to affect Luke's character portrayal?
I don't think it will change my opinion on Luke as a Jedi teacher because we see how it ends. So there's still the theory that when Ahsoka goes into the world between worlds, that actually created an alternate timeline. I would love to do an episode just on that. But I think what's going to happen is when we see more interaction between Ahsoka, Grogu, and Luke, we're going to see that Luke actually does probably a pretty good job at teaching Grogu and building him up back to a place where he's not like repressing his memories from Order 66 and he starts to become his own thing. But remember, like, Grogu is not a Jedi. He is a Mandalorian. That's his first thing. And Ahsoka is not coming back to the Order. So their interaction with Luke is going to be probably more as like providing input into where he should be going. I think Ahsoka probably will teach Luke about some of the things the Jedi really failed at, because that's really her lens of the Jedi Order. Like, the Jedi Order failed her before it failed everyone. So I think that's going to be the lens that she sees that. But I think the tragedy of it is that Luke is not going to learn from those mistakes because we already know that his order fails. So it's hard to answer that question when you already know the future. It's like it probably will end up making the fall of the new Jedi Order more tragic, is my official answer. Exhibit B! Some of you might point out Luke's heroic display at the end of Season 2 of The Mandalorian and thought to yourself, how can you say Luke wasn't a great master? That's a great question. Honestly, it is. And I think the distinction I want to make is the ability to teach and a Jedi's actual power level. Exhibit B1, we'll say, sub exhibit to this this point is Anakin Skywalker, Luke's father, was an incredibly powerful Jedi, but he was a notoriously bad Jedi master. Or bad
council member, not Jedi master.
He was never granted the rank of master. That's true. He was
Get
not
wrecked, son.
He was. You idiot! You've fallen for the classic blunder.
Shred him in the comments, folks.
He was not a great teacher. That's what I meant to say. I think Ahsoka, his Padawan, turned out as well as she did in spite of Anakin's inability to teach. And I think his son is no different. Luke's methodical massacre through the ranks of the Dark Troopers was one of the greatest scenes in all of Star Wars. Top 10, easily. I shrieked when I saw this, and it actually really freaked my dogs out. But the thing is like, his overall power level doesn't make him a good teacher. If anything, it just makes his rise to the rank of the Grand Master of the New Jedi Order, again, more tragic, because he's kind of flying on the laurel or hanging on the laurels of his abilities as a Jedi and not his abilities as a teacher.
I think that's a really good point. Luke is an excellent warrior. So in his uh, fight history, you know, he takes on Darth Vader, he fights the Dark Troopers, and he shows pretty incredible use of the Force when he basically projects himself across the galaxy in the sequel trilogy. Really, really cool. I think one thing he's got going for him is that he's trying to read his way into being a Grandmaster. I mean, first of all, we could also spend a while talking about how the Grandmaster, his title as Grandmaster is the meme of Obama giving himself a medal, right?
Yeah.
It's like he's like, I'm the Grandmaster because everyone's dead. Like you could have been like, I'm the Giga Master, and everyone would be like, yeah, that's the title. That sounds about right. He's trying to read his way in. He didn't get the generational wisdom passed down to him from the other Jedi. And yes, he did get to train with Obi-Wan. He did get to train with Yoda, but like he didn't get to live his life with the Jedi. He had very sparse interactions with them. So I think he did okay knowing all of this, but like he didn't get to grow up as a Padawan. He didn't get to know. Honestly, I don't even think he knew what a Padawan was until he established a new order, because he never was like, my name's Padawan Luke, I'm a farm boy, kind of new to this Jedi thing. Like the first title he gives himself is he's like, I'm a Jedi Knight like my father before me.
Yeah. I don't actually know that we hear the word Padawan in the original trilogy.
You don't, because they're all dead. Ha!
I mean, but I think it's a word that George Lucas created and introduced in the prequel trilogy.
That's fair. That is fair.
So kind of to build off of that, I think this power, however, is like, it's not indicative of his actual ability to teach, if that makes sense. Patience, wisdom, faith in your students, humility, and more patience. These are actually the traits that make a great Jedi teacher, and Luke did not have that. His temperament was similar to his father's, minus some of the trauma Anakin experienced. So we see a more mellow Luke because his upbringing was much more normal. For example, he certainly didn't have the faith that Ben Solo would face the dark side like he did and overcome it. He didn't have the wisdom to see that his students were being corrupted by the dark side. He didn't have the humility to stand before his sister and his brother-in-law and tell them that he failed. What did he do? He ran away. He fled with his metaphorical tail between his legs and only left a slightly inconvenient map of where he was going. Luke just didn't have what it took to be a master, which was the power and the skill of the Force combined with these attributes of a good teacher. Really, can you blame him, though? Before Luke opened up his own academy, he spends a lot of time trying to learn what the Jedi really were like, which actually brings me to Exhibit C. Luke was moderately successful in learning as much as he could from the Jedi who came before him. He trained briefly under one of the most decorated Jedi Masters, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and under the tutelage of probably the longest-serving Jedi Grandmaster, Yoda. Like we said, he also had run-ins with Ahsoka and Grogu, who were around to see when the Jedi and the Republic fell. Do you kind of see where I'm going with this yet? Luke gleans as much information as he can from these primary sources and emulates them as best as he is able, with one crucial flaw, and that he never learns from their mistakes. Master Skywalker, at best, was a continuation of the old, failed Jedi line, and at worst, all he could do was parrot their platitudes and aphorisms. The Jedi were a massive force in the galaxy, but were inherently flawed. Their entire order was brought down by two dudes. Palpatine was able to bring an entire galaxy-wide government to its knees, slaughter the Jedi, and remake the Republic in his own image right under their noses. Is this the Jedi Order that is worth rebuilding? Is this really the army of space wizards that should be given near unlimited power and jurisdiction across the galaxy? Luke sure thought so, and I truly believe he was dead wrong. The Jedi were a failed institution. If you are a fan of the High Republic novels and comics, you basically get to see the degradation of the Jedi in real time until basically one guy who couldn't find a decent wrinkle reducer to save his life brought everything crashing down. All of that, all of this evidence I bring you before you is canon Luke Skywalker. Some of you may be biting at the bit right now to scream in the comments, but Legends Luke was so much better. And I think if we just take off the nostalgia tinted glasses, I think we'll see a very similar trend between canon Luke and Legends Luke. And I would argue that Legends Luke failed just as spectacularly as the Luke we currently have. The pattern of resurrecting the Jedi Order basically hits a lot of the same story beats as canon Luke. The new Jedi Master, of which I think that title is self-appointed, which we kind of talked about earlier, tries to gather as much as he can on the old order and build it back up exactly as it was before. This version of Luke runs into some of the same issues where some of his students commit massive loss of life atrocities. I think we're on, at this point, Exhibit D. During the events of I, Jedi, the book that I referenced at the top of the episode, which is concurrent with Kevin J. Anderson's Jedi Academy trilogy, there's a particular pupil by the name of Kip Durin. Kip steals a super weapon called the Sun Crusher and uses it to, you guessed it, destroy the sun of an inhabited star system, killing billions of people. So frankly, I, Jedi doesn't cover this event in real time, but rather deals with Luke and Padawan Durin after the fact. Either timeline, Luke is directly responsible over some of the individuals responsible for some of the worst war crimes in Star Wars history. In canon, it was Kylo Ren or Ben Solo and Starkiller Base, and in canon, it was Kip Durin and the Sun Crusher. Basically the same thing. Basically the same thing. Actually, they're shockingly similar the more I think about it. Because, because I think the Sun Crusher causes things to go supernova, but, the only difference is Starkiller Base just used the sun as a power source.
Yeah, you're essentially just on different sides of the rifle.
Yes. My next point is the final point I want to say on this matter, and is actually why I decided to make this episode, which is Luke Skywalker's judgment over Kip Durin. Here's the thing. Luke's legacy would not be so tarnished, in my opinion, if he just took a little bit more responsibility for his students. Not everyone is going to be able to grasp the power of the Force, be given this insane mystical power, and then use it responsibly. No matter how well you teach them, power corrupts people. And that's certainly a theme we see in Star Wars, is power corrupts people. However, Luke Skywalker's judgment over Kip Durin does not... It really, really bothers me. For some context, at this point in time, one of the items on Luke's ledger is that he actually fell to the dark side after a clone of the Emperor came back and converted him. This is a Legends thing. So people are like, the new movies that's a dumb story. It's like, well, it already happened and it seemed like people really liked it. So it's like, yeah, it's not original, but y'all liked it the first time. I don't know. But the thing is the clone of the Emperor came back, converted him to the dark side, but then Luke later returns from the dark side and is essentially given his illustrious place as the leader of the Jedi Order after he returns to the light. Okay. Having the perspective that Luke went there and back again to metaphorical Mordor, he shows Kip Durin a similar level of forgiveness, grace, and mercy that he himself was shown. Don't get me wrong. These traits by themselves are not bad things. They're actually very good things, but not at the cost of justice being served. The main character of I, Jedi, Corran Horn, happens to agree with this notion and absolutely rips into Luke when he hears about that Kip Duran basically just got a slap on the wrist, and that was it. I actually wish I had a transcript of this monologue directed towards Luke, because he was 100% dead on. In summary, Corran Horn chastises the Master of the Mystic Arts, or the Jedi Master, that it's not enough that Kip Duran essentially said, sorry, prayed a few Hail Leias, and was allowed to rejoin the ranks of the Jedi. After all, Luke faced little to no consequences after renouncing the dark side, so why shouldn't Kip? It was at this point I came to the opinion that Luke Skywalker, no matter which timeline you look at, was not a good Jedi Master. An exceptionally powerful Jedi warrior? Yes, for sure. But he didn't have it where it counts and didn't learn from the error of the old Jedi Order. Moving forward, I really hope someone at Disney hears this, because I think it would be a travesty if Rey essentially did the same thing as Luke. I want to see Rey succeed. I really do. And not just because I want more movies that I can watch 6 times a year. I want to see her learn from the mistakes of the old Jedi and lead the next generation of Skywalkers to a place that it's never been before. Okay, I'm totally out of breath. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. If you are watching this, our Saber giveaway has been announced, and there are a myriad ways to join with multiple entries between now and August when we announce the winners. So please follow our socials. We're going to have lots of information on that, and we're going to try to do this giveaway as professionally as possible. So keep a lookout for that. Nathan, I think I'm going to pass it back over to you. That's my rant about Luke Skywalker not being a good Jedi Master. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. If you agree, if you disagree, what are some of your I want to see evidence also. If you agree, being like, oh, let's talk about this event, let's talk about this event. If you disagree, be like, oh, let's talk about when he did this, when he did that. I want to see canon, I want to see legends, I want to see it all, because that's how I experience Star Wars, is through the lens of the old stuff and the new stuff. I grew up on it, and I watch all the new stuff. All is welcome. Just be respectful. It's the only thing I ask. Other than that, go bananas.
Future comments and things like that will also be taken into consideration. If we get enough there, we'll absolutely make a follow-up episode. Andrew, thank you so much for bringing us your TED Talk on Luke Skywalker today. We're going to finish up with just a few pieces of news, so I'll go through these so I get a chance to talk today. So we've got quite a bit here, guys. So super excited to cover all of this. So one interesting article that you had actually sent me that you found on MSN.com was the Fallout came out with a next-gen update that was, first of all, it's 14 gigs, which for an update isn't bad, but also to a very, very large game already is really, that's more than like icing on the cake. That's like, hey, you dumped the frosting bag on the cake, so stop it. So quite a bit. The next-gen update apparently breaks modded saves and doesn't seem to change things at all. I have the disc of Fallout 4. I would have no intention of playing the next gen update because I would already be playing it on a high resolution on my Xbox, and I would still have access to mods. So for me, I'm not interested in that. I'm actually very glad you said that, because if I wanted to add mods, like if we ever wanted to do that on stream, which I very much want to do, that's where we would be at. Second piece of news I have today is Frost Giant Studios. Oh, it feels good to talk about them. Is set to begin their final closed beta, or actually at the time this has happened, the final closed beta has started. So we are getting into, and you're like, hey, what's Frost Giant? What's this closed beta about? This is about Stormgate, the potential revival of RTS, or real-time strategy. Now, if you guys follow us on Twitch, you guys know that we are actually huge fans of RTS, and we will actually be streaming that some of today, so that's going to be fun. But we're very, very excited about the arrival of Stormgate, and I know both of us are prepping as much as we can, as fast as we can, so we can play, stream, and get content out for this for you guys, because this is going to be a very, very big deal. So, very excited about all that. Another piece of news we have, item number 3 today, is that we may be getting a new Gears title set to be released in June. So I'm very, very excited about that.
This June?
This June. So this is going to be the title release, not necessarily the game release.
Oh, okay.
The title release. So we probably wouldn't expect Gears 7? 6? Which one are we on?
6.
6.
I feel like, yeah, Gears 5 is the one we've played the most.
So Gears 6 set to be released or, actually talked about in June. So that's going to be cool. That means we should probably expect it in 2025 or 2026. So a while, but maybe they're reviewing it and they have most of it ready already. That would be cool. Gears 5's been out for a while, so who knows? So that'd be very fun. Also, another piece of news we have is June 4th, Star Wars Hunters is going to be launching in the US. Now, this is going to be super cool because you guys actually know that we really like mobile games here on the channel. And the reason we like mobile games, because it fits really well with our kind of mission statement as a podcast, is we love all of these nerddoms, but we want them to be as open and accessible to as many people as possible. And most people have smartphones. Most people have an ability to play mobile games and spend a lot of their time on their phones anyway. So this is a really cool way for people to get into the franchise. Star Wars Hunters is essentially just an arena battler. It's a third-person shooter arena battler. So we're going to see how it is. We might be able to stream it. I can play it on my iPad or hopefully my phone as well, and then basically sync that to my PC so you guys can catch that, which would be really cool. But yeah, that would be really awesome. Hopefully it's good. I think the last couple of games that have released on mobile, I think it was Warzone Mobile I tried streaming once, and it was slow.
Hot
it was
garbage.
So slow, which I didn't make any sense because it didn't have nearly as much content as Call of Duty Mobile, but it was much poorer performance. So that was a big letdown.
Yeah. It's like they tried to totally reinvent the wheel, and they're like, squares are good shape for wheels. Yeah, if you're going to play a Call of Duty game on your phone, ditch Warzone, play Call of Duty Mobile. It's so much better. It's so much more stable. And I can't emphasize this enough, it's the same game.
It is. It is. It has a slightly different skin, but it's almost exactly the same.
To me, like, you've played a lot more Call of Duty Mobile than I have. To me, who hasn't played as much, indistinguishable, other than the fact that Warzone is hella choppy. It sucks.
It is. It was real choppy. All right, guys. Thank you guys, everyone, so much for watching. I cannot tell you how excited I am that I am doing my outro, and we haven't even hit the 40-minute mark on our overall recording time. So I'm super excited about that because it's going to be a busy weekend with all of the Star Wars stuff that we have going on. So I have very limited time to edit. So Andrew, thank you for your quick and concise, very detailed description of how Luke Skywalker was a pile of hot bantha fodder. So fantastic work. Now, to you, audience, hey, I'm looking at you. You fantastic people. Every single one of you guys watching is amazing. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all of those things that you would do. But really what we're looking for is we want that interaction on the video here, guys. I know from looking at our analytics that most of you guys don't stay around past the first about 8 minutes or so. So listen to the whole thing. There's a ton of good stuff there. We want you guys to engage on the videos. That helps us out more than you could possibly know. We are skyrocketing on just different platforms. It's like every month a new platform just like bumps up in like hundreds of viewers. So we're super excited about that. If you guys have questions or anything you guys want to ask us, like, let us know. We have DMs open on Instagram, Twitter. It'll never be X. It'll always be Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, all of these different things. We have so many areas and avenues for you guys to contact us, and we really want you guys to do that. Now, I really want to make sure that we say this because we're going to be emphasizing this over and over and over again, is we are, by the time you see this, we have released our Star Wars lightsaber giveaway. Now, this is a big giveaway we try to do every year, guys, and we're changing this just a little bit so that ideally we can have more lightsabers going out to you guys. Now, how this is going to work is essentially we're going to be giving away a lightsaber. We're going to be giving this away in August, correct, Andrew?
Yes, that is true. Yep.
Fantastic.
Beginning of August.
So we're giving you guys plenty of time to essentially earn raffle tickets. So what that means is if you guys want to enter in to win the lightsaber, and this is going to be from Ultra Sabers, is that what we decided, Andrew?
Yeah, it's going to be from Ultra Sabers. They're going to be grab bag sabers. So it's a random saber with a random color. And we'll ship it to you. It's about the cost to you if you were to buy it from the US is about $100 USD. So it's a good deal.
So quite a bit. And that's not even with shipping. Like that's $100 base plus shipping, all that fun stuff. So keep in mind here, guys, we're basically using a raffle ticket system, so you guys don't have to throw in nearly as much, but keep in mind everything supports the podcast. So how you guys can get tickets is very, very simple. Every month you're subscribed on Patreon from May, June, July into August will earn you a raffle ticket. So that's up to 4 raffle tickets that you can get just from supporting us over on Patreon. Now, you guys can also support us on Twitch with subscribers. Same thing. A subscriber will get you a raffle ticket all the way through. And you can subscribe as many times as you want. If you subscribe for yourself and then give 5 gifted subs, that's yourself plus 5. That's 6 raffle tickets. So you can really bump up there. And again, that's about $30. And again, it all goes to supporting us. It gives you extra benefits, things like that, and super helpful. Or if you're like, hey, I want something that's a little bit more like physical. I want some like reward. So at least I get something with also the chance to support the podcast as well. Buy something from our Etsy shop. Every purchase will get you 2 raffle tickets. So if you purchase one of our awesome Helldiver stickers, which we may be putting on sale soon, we'll get you 2 raffle tickets. So take a look at that, guys. We post an annoying amount of times on all of our socials, mostly because research has shown us that if people don't see something multiple times, then you guys are, if we don't post something multiple times, then you guys probably aren't seeing it. We can't just post something once and expect everybody to see it. So we have to post this stuff a lot. So if you guys are getting annoyed with us about that, I'm sorry. That's what our analytics are telling us to do. So just a recap, subscribers on Patreon, 1 ticket per subscription or payment. For Etsy, it's 2. So you guys get a little bit more because you're getting merchandise with that as well. We have a Helldivers mug, multiple Helldiver stickers, our Silly Goose Brigade sticker, because that's like our like brand. Any follower on Twitch gets entered into the Silly Goose Brigade.
Silly Goose Brigade.
So that's like you can rep us there. And we have our scientific method sticker as well. Oh, I can show you guys these. I have these available. Scientific method. So if you guys are a fan of and find out, you guys can get our scientific method sticker. We have plenty of these in stock right now, and we will order more as needed. We will ship these to you. It costs $1 to ship. It's so cheap for us to ship these out to you guys. So, and this way it gives you an awesome decal. I had a bunch of people at work who wanted these, so I literally had to buy a bigger pack so I could put some on Etsy and then also like give some away and sell them to people at work as well, because I was like working on the designs at work and people were like looking over my shoulder and they're like, what's with the test tubes? And I was like, oh, it's the scientific method. And they're like, oh, what does FAAO mean? And I was, or
FAFO.
FAFO, thank you, FAFO. And I was like, oh, it means fuck around and find out, because that's basically the scientific method. We just like changed it to be funny. And they were like, oh, I want that. And so I immediately sold several of these. So like once I got them in, so super excited, guys. We have limited quantity right now, but we will order more if you buy them. So like get them, they get you raffle tickets. Buying a sticker might also get you a lightsaber. So we really appreciate all of the support here, guys. Andrew, do you have anything to add before we sign off?
All of this is actually going to be tracked through a Google form. So we're going to be sending out a link on basically everything. It'll be in the description of this video. It'll be on our Twitter. We're going to pin it to everything. We're going to have it on our Twitch. You'll be able to find this link. It's a Google form. And that is where we need just a little bit of information from you. It's going to be like your email. If you're on Patreon, we'll need your Patreon name. If we'll need the email if you buy stuff through Etsy. We'll try it. There's going to be a lot of back end work for us to compile all this data. So having a Google form allows us to organize that data just a little bit better. We're not going to spam you with emails. Honestly, what I'm like, once the giveaway is over, I'm going to delete all that information. I'm not going to sell it. I don't believe in that. I think that's wrong.
Yeah, I don't like sending emails in the first place, so we're not interested in that. So we don't have a sign up list or an email list. Eventually in the future, maybe we'll get an email list, but we're not going to do that right now.
Yeah, it's like we post on a lot of socials. That's how people get their information.
Indeed.
Email lists are a little obsolete, but we are going to have a Google form so we can attempt to organize all this information. Because there's a lot of different ways to enter on a lot of different platforms, and it's difficult to figure out. If I can, I'm going to figure out a Gleam sweepstake thing that will link all these things, but that costs like a ton of money. So Google Forms it is.
Absolutely. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe this video so the algorithmic overlords will slice this video into the feeds of other like-minded folks. And until next time, may the 4th be with you all.
Let's go.